Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Paravahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you remember, we are studying this book. Okay, so if you remember, we first started the study by analyzing what is the problem in us seeking happiness. We are all seeking happiness, everybody is doing it all the time, but somehow it seems to escape us. It's like so much people have done for it, but it just seems to escape us. So the first chapter talked about how it's very, very elusive and why it is elusive, how the world changes, the various things that have to happen before you can enjoy something. We discussed how happiness was very elusive. It was easy to understand because it is what we experience, right? You like a mango very much, you eat a mango, and the joy of the mango is gone after some time. You get into a house, you like the house very much, you buy the house, and you love it, and then after some time the joy is gone. So we first analyzed how it's very elusive. I'm just doing a very brief overview at the moment. It's very elusive. Then we started analyzing, where does the problem lie? Does it lie in the fact that things change? Does it lie in the fact that things don't change? Where does it lie? So we analyzed and found out for ourselves that don't do this, please. One chapter we did. We analyzed and found out that
it's because of our ignorance of the self.
It's because of desires. Yes, you're right. Ignorance of the self is correct. But what is happening is that we desire happiness. But desire and happiness are inversely proportional. So the very pursuit itself is doomed. Because the very thing with which you are pursuing it is the thing that prevents it. This is the problem with happiness. So we studied 2 chapters on the problem. First, a problem as it appears to us. Then the problem as it actually is. Okay, so all agitations we studied come out of desires. There's no other way to be agitated. So obviously now we have to come to solution. Now 2 chapters we spoke on problems. The problem as we experience it and the actual problem. What is the real problem of it? Now we have to come to solution. Now solution, prima facie, is very easy because you've located the cause. What is the cause of all the trouble?
Our desires.
Desire. So therefore, what is the solution to the problem?
Eliminate desires.
Eliminate desire. Now we come to another problem. How on earth are we going to do that? Right? So this is the flow of thought in the book. First, the problem as we experience it. Then secondly, the actual cause of the problem, which is desire. And now we have to talk about its solution, desirelessness. Prima facie, that's a nonsensical solution, right? Because how can anyone become desireless? What do you mean? How can you be desireless? So prima facie, it makes no sense. How can you talk about becoming desireless? How can you? There's an inherent problem in it. Because if you desire to be desireless, are you desireless? There's another problem. It's not easy, this thing. And yet, if you have accepted that the cause of the problem is the desire itself, then we have to sit down and figure out this thing about desireless. Because until we are able to achieve a comprehension of that, we don't know whether what we've studied so far makes any sense or not. So we have to now try and understand this whole concept of desirelessness. That is why the third chapter begins desireless. Knowing you happiness.
Jackie ji,
Yeah.
can I ask a question from a very fundamental one from the previous chapter?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm asking about the very definition of happiness, because ultimately the subject matter is happiness. Now, in chapter 2, we have defined happiness to be the absence of mental agitation.
That's right.
The issue is in what is mental agitation. That seems to be the absence of happiness. When there is no happiness, you're agitated. So this seems to be a case of circular logic. Is that true? Possibly not. And therefore the explanation for that. And more importantly, is there a definition of happiness which is not a no negative, kind of a definition, but an absolute definition that this is happiness. And then agitation flows from that, the other way around.
No, there is no such definition of happiness which is not a negative, because of a fundamental requirement, because of a fundamental concept, which is that you never need to do anything for happiness, because happiness is your original state. This is a concept. You can take it or leave it. So, but this is the Vedantic concept, that no attempt has to be made for gaining happiness, gaining knowledge, all these things don't exist. Only thing that has to be done is the barriers have to be removed. You don't have to make any attempt, for instance, to love. All that has to be done is the barrier has to be removed. And hence, the definition will be always in the negative. Many people have tried to give a definition in the positive. If you do a sort of a rough check, even if you just do a Google search, definition of happiness, you will find endless number of things. But all those things are telling you how to get it, why you should get it, everything around it. It will not tell you, because it is not possible. This is what the ancient sages have told us. If you have to gain something positive, then you can define it like that. But when that's not possible, then you can't define it. But you will find lots, and you yourself will be able to say that, nope, because I know, because I did that already. Because I tried, way back when I was doing my thesis. So I was thinking, in fact, my professor said that my guides, how can you define it in negative? You should define it in positive. So I went on a find positive definition. So I put all the definitions, rejected them on various grounds, and said, finally, this is the definition. This is it. You can't do it. So many things like that. One, happiness is like a cat that comes and sits on your lap when you are not looking for it. But if you try to run after it, then it will run away. All sorts of things, but not defining. So no, there is no positive. Now, your first question was, is this circular logic? Now, when we talk about circular logic, that means X leads to Y and Y leads to X. That's the circle. Right? So why are you feeling sleepy? Because I took a soporific drug. But soporific drug means a sleep-inducing drug, and therefore it's a circular logic. So now in this case, it is not like that, because what is happiness is the absence of desire. The presence of desire causes mental agitation. Now, what is mental agitation? The definition of mental agitation is a really bad one. Bad one means it's really from the highest level, which is any movement of the mind. Any movement of thought is agitation. Now, this is such a definition that if you give this definition to anybody, they will give up and they will go away. But, if you study Vedanta long enough, you realize that actually that's a very good definition. Because all your calmness is the stillness of the mind. If the moment there is any movement, slightest movement of the mind, that's agitation. So in any point where the mind goes still, such as in meditation, or even like an artist painting, or maybe a singer singing, mind is completely still. That person will experience a meditative state, like that is happiness according to them. Even sometimes when you are swimming and you're like sort of under the water, you're just totally very calm. I mean, you can't see anything, right? You're under the water. Very, very calm. Or if you go below the ocean surface. Please don't try all this, okay? Don't try to become calm like this. But the fact is, when the mind doesn't move, when you come to Vedanta, even if you come to Vedanta class, it's very peaceful. Everybody tell you it's very peaceful. Why is it so peaceful? If you listen to noble ideas, why is it so peaceful? Mind stops. Running here and there, here and there, here and there. So, happiness is the absence of mental agitation. The cause of mental agitations is desires. As long as there's a desire, the mind will go to the object of desire. Even now in class, it's very easy to agitate anyone. Remind them something's on the gas. Is something on the gas? Ask the question. Mind is agitated. They are moved away from that. You are muted, so I can't.
Now, I said this is a very profound thought, that it is a non-negative definition, and a non-negative definition is not possible. And therefore, this is how we start the total subject.
Yes.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah. Just one more thing that you said, this was, I think, in one of the last two classes. You said everything is cause and effect because we are talking about causality. Except that you said there is this teeny weeny thing which can be random. Now, where does this, meaning where is the scope, if everything is cause and effect, period? Where does this teeny weeny 0.01% randomness come in? And why does it have to come in the model?
Where it comes in is in Purushartha. And why it has to come in is because by definition, free will cannot be influenced by definition. Otherwise, it's not free. So if you give it any influence, the capacity of influencing free will occurs, you immediately make it bound. Suppose you can say that your teacher influences you, or your circumstances influence you. You learn because of all these things. You change your path because of all these things. That can't be true. A, because you don't even see any causality. Not everybody who listens to the teacher is going to have the same change or the same comprehension or the same understanding. All of that is there. And why is it not going to be the same for everybody? Because of, why will everybody not understand the subject the same? Anyone?
Because of our gunas.
Because of our vasanas, because of our gunas, because of our already created baggage. Now, if this baggage can influence my free will, if it can, think of what the repercussion of this idea is. That means everything in your life is predetermined. If you don't add a very, very tiny dot of Purushartha there. Everything in your life, and it's based only on causation, everything in your life will become predetermined. Because given whatever vasanas you have now, these are the cause, they have a certain effect, right? That effect is the cause for some other effects. And this will go on ever. Because no other effect can come from this cause. So you should be able to look at anybody and say in 50 years' time where they will be, which you can't do.
Yeah, the need for Purushartha is non-negotiable.
Right. So it's the same reason you have to, and Purushartha is random.
Now that's a difficult concept to digest, that Purushartha is, yeah, I know by definition it is not influenceable, and therefore,
I mean, technically speaking, Purushartha is subtler than Vasanas. Everything in the world is from Vasanas. Therefore,
Yeah.
it cannot influence. Therefore, you have to accept some degree of randomness. I mean, very little, because
actually, no. I'm saying since Purusharth is non-negotiable in everybody's life, because everybody's life is not predetermined, then
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
99.9% recurring is vasanas, which means cause and effect.
Yeah. No, and I'm saying yet everybody can influence it. And therefore, with his Purusharth, which is higher than Vasanas, the question is, why does this randomness have to be the teeny weeny bit? Because Purusharth is a very integral part of our existence. And Purusharth is coming from randomness. So randomness need not be very minuscule. It can be.
No, but if you increase the quantum of random, I won't know next Friday who you're going to be. But I know that for the last 20 years, I am seeing Deepak Sethi. I am seeing him, same person, right? Same means largely same person.
Yeah.
But if it was very high, that means tomorrow morning you can get up as anything else. Remember the power of Purushartha. Tomorrow morning you can get up as a spider. But that's not going to happen, right? At least I hope it doesn't happen so much. So, in the change, you can't see that kind of change. You see 99.9% recurring.
Continuity, yeah.
Going by that cause and effect relationship. You give Purushartha any more power, it'll wipe us all out. I mean, it'll wipe out all of causation. So it's not like we are giving it power, it's the logic of it that if this was possible, that means there would be no stability whatsoever in a personality. Because now he's free, he'll do whatever he wants.
Okay, thank you. Onwards to chapter 3 now.
Janki ji, one question. Okay.
You use the word Purushartha, it is impossible. Onwards is not happening. You have been to enough classes to know. Use the word Purushartha, that's the end of the class. Okay, let's see who wants. Yes, let's see.
Janki ji, there are some people, they are chronic worriers. It is a habit to become moody or to be worrying all the time. So they are also, for them also, the cause is desire or something else.
Everything is desire, whether it's chronic or acute. Problem is the same. It is just that each one's desire, you keep on going in a direction, then that gets entrenched in our system. So somebody has desire. So what does he do? He starts going to malls. Okay, that's one pattern of behavior. Oh, what can I buy? Or another one does what? Another one starts. What is the archery? You continue in archery. A third one says with the desires only starts worrying about the desire will be fulfilled, not fulfilled, and you continue worrying. So whatever you do with your desire, whatever stream you start, that will go on.
Thank you.
Hariom Janki ji, I'll keep my question short. I also was thinking about this last time you told about randomness. So the question is, a lot of philosophers, spiritual gurus ask us to focus on material and God, right? Spirit plus matter. You focus on spirit, real, unreal, what is permanent, impermanent. Focus on the permanent. But none of the philosophers tell focus on prarabdha or purushartha. Many of the high-end philosophies, I say, they don't say do not touch upon the subject because it's not needed, right? Uh, why is that? Because we cannot make a distinction between Purushartha and Prarabdha, right? That is point one. Similarly, we cannot make a distinction between permanent and impermanent. Yes, we know self is permanent, but why the masters are saying focus on that? Because simple example, if I can't wake up at 5 a.m. because of my Prarabdha, I will not try that. I can try waking up at 12 and starting my day. Whatever is prarabdha, either I will do it or not do it, right? It would be easier if I know it. So why is the focus not on finding out what is our prarabdha? I know it is impossible, but I just wanted your thoughts on this.
Because it's pointless. What will you find out and do? It's like saying that I've got to clean this room. First, let me analyze all the dirt. For what? If you identify it as dirt, throw it out. No. I will first analyze what is the dirt, how important is the dirt. Throw it out. You analyze, it's dirt. So you need discrimination to tell what is worthy of having and what is not worthy of having. Once you've got the discrimination, then you just throw it out.
Okay, it's in that way. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, now let's go to chapter 3. Desireless. Now I need to understand if the cause of my agitation was desire, then the solution is very simple, remove desire. I mean, theoretically very simple, but now what am I supposed to do with this piece of information? It's a basically useless piece of information, right? Because I can't get rid of my desire. So what am I supposed to do with it? So now let us read this chapter and see whether we get any clarity on what is going on here.
Sorry, Jankiji, just one other question. You know, the previous chapter is titled Desires Courting You Happiness. Why is the title Desires Courting You Happiness? Because if I court desires, I'm actually courting happiness. Unhappiness, I mean. But the title of the previous chapter, and I asked this in the context of the next chapter, which we are just starting. The last chapter said desires courting you happiness. And I'm saying courting desires is unhappiness.
Correct. That's the whole point. That's why I'm courting. No, I'm not getting. The next chapter is I'm getting, knowing happiness. It's like imagine that the example is of having a relationship, right? So that's how it is said. So you want a relationship with happiness. So what happens first? First, you find it very elusive. Like imagine it's a person. You find it very elusive. Okay, so then what are you trying to do? You're going to go and try and grab it. So you're courting, you're running after, you're wanting. It's not working. So then you come to the third stage, which is, okay, let me understand this. Let me understand what's going on. So that's why knowing you happen, understanding you happen. So far, I've not understood what is the cause and effect relationship. Therefore, I'm not getting it. So courting means not getting.
Not getting. Meaning, yeah. Okay.
Chapter 3, Desireless, knowing you happens. This beautiful quote from Wordsworth, Ode to Duty. It's a beautiful poem. If you ever get a chance, please do read the whole poem. But he talks about duty, this voice of the stern, stern voice of the daughter of God. It's a beautiful poem where he's talking to duty. And what is the opposite of duty is hope, right? So one beautiful line in it is, my hopes must no more change their name. Because I'm not doing my duty. I am hoping this and that and that and this many things I'm hoping. And then you realize eventually that the hopes are only changing the name. Everything else has stayed just the same. The same agitation, the same everything is going on, the same getting, keeping, losing, agitation. the whole system is wrong. So he says, my hopes must no more change their name. The mechanism of happiness. How do we experience happiness? So let's figure out what happens when we are actually going to experience some happiness. How do we experience happiness? A desire pops up for a mango. It agitates the mind. We eat a mango. The agitation, which had shot up, recede. Right? This is a common experience, right? You want a mango, mind is agitated, you get the mango, you eat the mango, the agitations recede, the wave subsides, we experience what we call happiness. We report that the mango makes us happy. Same, huh? You eat a gulab jamun and say, oh, wow, what a wonderful thing. And say, gulab jamun makes me happy. But consider, is the mango the cause of this happiness? It was the desire that agitated the mind. When we eat the mango, the desire is eliminated. There is no longer an unfulfilled desire. Hence, we are happy. A fulfilled desire means there is no desire. Thus, it is the absence of desire that causes happiness. It is the removal of the desire that was the cause of the pleasure, not the mango. If there had been no desire, the mango could not have given happiness. If one did not want to eat it, the mango would have been a torture. Haven't you noticed this? You go to somebody's house and they force you and force you and force you to eat something. Maybe a wonderful thing, but you still find it torturous. It's always the absence of desire which is happiness, even though it feels as if the objects cause happiness. Eating the mango was just one way of eliminating the desire. There could be other, more effective ways. We overlook the underlying mechanism and incorrectly associate happiness with an object. This little bit of delusion makes us relentless chasers of objects, thereby creating more desires and further agitations. It is a cycle we will never be rid of until we see what we are doing. Chasing happiness is much like chasing one shadow. Run after it. All you want. It can't be caught. But turn and walk towards the sun. The shadow will follow you meekly. We are like children running after the shadow, ignoring the glorious ever-present sun. The attempt to use, I am continuing because I think we have done this fairly. It's we start a new chapter, sort of, go in the flow that was already there. So if you have a question, please stop me. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. Any questions so far? It's fairly simple, right? You've already done all this stuff. But if you have a question, stop me. The attempt to use external objects to fill an internal lacuna is not particularly intelligent. It is a method that rarely works. It leaves us hurt and disillusioned. It makes us cynical about people and life in general. Listen to any of the tragic love songs. How poignantly they portray those feelings, the betrayal, the hurt, the disappointment, but they place the problem at the wrong door. This you see now, all the beautiful love songs. Oh, she left me, she broke my heart. All so many things they say. All correct. I mean, that is the experience, and everybody else. Oh, yes, yes, I also love so much, and she broke me. That is the experience. But they place the problem at the wrong door. Yeah, Bharat?
Why do we say it is a method that rarely works? Why rarely?
Because in some cases you say, no, no, I met my sweetheart and I'm so happy. So we are not debating. It rarely works means it doesn't work. That's what it really means. But you will claim it works. I mean, the
So
individual
just
thing.
to avoid controversy.
I mean, it's English phraseology also. It rarely works. It's a way of not, what should I say, just not being too assertive and saying things, less assertive manner. It's
Sure.
more in that sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Regardless of the amount of acquisition, the lacuna just continues. That is why we are so possessive about things. That is why we stifle those who we love. We are hanging on for dear life. We don't seem to recognize that it is not about them, but our mad and desperate mission to fill an internal lacuna. How we are holding on to things like as if our life depends on it. And for us, it does. As Vairagya Shatakam by Bhartrahari says in verse 19. Beautiful book. I don't know, I shouldn't be recommending all this. You please study one book, but Vairagya Shatakam is a gem. When the mouth is parched with thirst, man takes some cold, refreshing, or sweetened drink. When suffering from hunger, he swallows boiled rice made delicious with meat and the like. When set on fire by lust, he fast embraces his wife. So happiness is but remedying these diseases of hunger, thirst, and lust. And behold, how man is upset in its way. We can all relate to this because we understand it. This is our own thing, our own experience. No matter what we do, the niggling lacuna persists. Fulfillment is only a temporary respite until the next hope.
Hariom, ma'am, can I stop you?
Yeah.
Or no matter what we do, that niggling lacuna exists. So this is a very powerful statement. Sometimes when we achieve a very big goal, we feel happy, but there is a niggling lacuna. So it is because we have not achieved the self, or why is that niggling lacuna?
Desires are still there, no?
Okay, very simple, no?
Very simple. As long as you get it. It's so simple, really. All of Vedanta is really simple. As long as you have a desire, you will not be happy. Get it. And therefore, you work towards self-realization because there is nothing else to do. According to you, if you claim that the only purpose of life is to be happy, then you have no other job but to realize the self.
Okay, so just a statement like if Olympians win a gold, the next day it is said that they feel a sense of emptiness because they don't have nothing. So is it because they have to get the self, right? And they do not know that that is missing, right? Sometimes it's strange, right? After achieving, you feel empty. So what is that emptiness? It is not achieve the self. Is it a right statement?
Yes, of course. Because desires are still there, no? It will still bother you.
Okay, thank you.
No matter what we do, the niggling lacuna persists. Fulfillment is only a temporary respite until the next hope. We don't see through its disguise. It's a new garb, but it's still our old friend, the lacuna, promising us yet again that elusive happens. That's why he says, no, my hopes must no more change their names. It is like a blackmailer that never goes away. And his demands only rise. The pressure builds again and again. A wise person, even during respite, recognizes that the problem is very much there. This doesn't mean that acquisition and fulfillment are to be shunned. When you read this for the first time, oh, well, I'm getting away from everything. No. This doesn't mean that acquisition and fulfillment are to be shunned. We needn't stoically and unnecessarily bear with deprivation. Oh, I've not got something. I have no money to eat. But anyway, even if I get money to eat, I will not find happiness. So why should I get money to eat? Arey Baba, you please get money and eat your food. So don't misunderstand what it's talking about. We needn't stoically and unnecessarily bear with deprivation. Even, as we work, some people will be some small discomfort they'll have. And I say, okay, why don't you do something about it? They'll say, no, it's okay. I can bear it. But who's asking you to bear it? No, but I can bear it. Why? Why are you bearing it? Don't bear it. It's so hot, but I won't put on the fan. Why? It's so cold, but I won't put on the heater. Why? We needn't stoically and unnecessarily bear with deprivation. But understanding the ground realities always helps to conduct our lives, our affairs better. That's what we have to do, understand it. That's why this chapter is called Knowing You. Just understand, that's all you're expected. Elimination of agitations. Desires cause mental agitations. Eliminating desire is the only way of eliminating agitation. Desires are eliminated in two ways: comply or sublimate. Comply means you go and fulfill it, or sublimate it means you grow up. When we comply with the desire, enjoy the desired object, the desire is exhausted. On the other hand, if we sublimate the desires also, no desire remains. In both cases, there is no unfulfilled desire, and hence the associated agitation is quelled. Enjoying the object no doubt gives happiness, but this is temporary, unstable. It is subject to endless danger. I'm not going into this because I think we've been into it quite a lot. In class, we talk about it so much, there's no point. But when someone is reading the book, they require this repetition to just stay with the flow of thought. Because there's no explanation, right? Somebody may read this book and not have the class. So they will require all this. How are you all doing? Are you all fine so far? Any problems? Fine, no? All good? Now you all will say, then why are you being repetitive? It's a book, Baba. So it wasn't designed to be class material. It was designed to be a book that people will read on their own. By the time they've come to chapter 3, they've forgotten what is chapter 1 and chapter 2. So we have to tell them again. That's why it's there, repetitive. Enjoying the object no doubt gives happiness, but this is temporary, unstable. It is subject to endless danger. The challenge with fulfilling desires is that the moment one is fulfilled, a host of other desires spring. A girl wants a job. Then she needs a car to take her to work, a work wardrobe, a laptop, coordinated devices. Whatever we touch seems to bring in its wake a whole world of desires. The additional desires seem very reasonable to us. And who can say that they are not? Suppose you get a job. Will you not want clothes to wear to that job? Will you not need a laptop to work, whatever your job is? Will you not need a vehicle to take you to your job? Everything you have, everything gets added on. whatever we touch seems to bring in its wake a whole world of desire. The additional desires seem very reasonable to us. And who can say that they are not? Why not get those things too? Yes, why not? If it makes life more convenient or more enjoyable, then where is the problem? It seems like going back and forth. Make up your mind. Am I supposed to get it or not get it? Then where is the problem? Remember, the problem is not in acquisition. Because everybody who studies philosophy starts thinking that, oh, the acquisition is the problem. The acquisition is never the problem. Why should you not have? Now, Amarendra, he lives in the Middle East, right? Or in what? Yeah, Bahrain. No, Muscat. Yeah, sorry, it's all leaky bath for me. So you're in Muscat. Now, in Muscat, somebody next to him may have a BMW. So he will say, I need a BMW. So somebody who's learning Vedanta will tell him, why do you need a BMW? What do you mean, why do you need a BMW? Then I will ask you, why do you need a car? Yes, that's correct. We should go by cycle. Now, why do you need a cycle? Why don't you walk? And then, yeah, that's good. I must walk. But why do you need to go anywhere? Why don't you sit at home? Like this, there's no end to it, right? If you take somebody, take Abdul Kalam, for instance. Joyce, you know Abdul Kalam? He's one of our highly respected presidents. He was the father of our nuclear program, I think. I mean, he's a scientist, very highly respected in this country.
Sorry, what's his name again?
Abdul Kalam.
Abdul Kalam.
Kalam. Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
highly respected. Now, Abdul Kalam became president of our country. Where did he live? You know where he lived? What y'all are being so quiet as if you don't know where he lived.
Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Huh? Rashtrapati Bhavan. Rashtrapati Bhavan is a mansion. I don't know how many, it's got 100 rooms or something. I don't know how many rooms Rashtrapati Bhavan has. Rashtrapati Bhavan, Joyce, is the presidential palace. Okay, so he lives in this palace. Or the president's home is massive, right? He goes by Rolls Royce. Sometimes he goes by, what is this, the 6-horse chariot. Now, this is the most humble, most simple man probably in the country. So, should he not live in the mansion because he's so humble and so simple? He has to live there. He's president of our country. If he doesn't live in the presidential palace, the rest of the world will think India is, I don't know what, going poverty struck or something. His living there is representative of the glory and might of India. It is not representative of that particular individual. So, should he live there? Of course he should live there. Why should he not live there? It would be terrible for India if our Rashtrapati lives in a slum. The world will mock us. So, is Vedanta saying that no, if you're a simple, humble man, you must not have anything. You must not enjoy anything. Of course not. If you need a BMW, for whatever reason, please get one. If you need a Cessna, you need an airplane, please get one. But it is based on the context. It's not based on, oh, you know what, I have a plane. It's not to decorate your ego. It is for what is required. So when you start looking at it like that, and you do not believe that these objects are going to give you so much more happiness, but they are something that has to be used for a particular end, now you put, who is saying don't use all these things? For instance, now, I'm using a laptop, right? But now if I say, oh, you know what? I have a laptop. There's something wrong with me. So what? This is, I have a plane. So what? Tata Kim. So what? I won Nobel Prize. So what? That's the king. People who win Nobel Prize don't die. People who win Nobel Prize don't have a fight with their spouses. People who win Nobel Prize don't fall ill. So what? The point is not the Nobel. The point is, have I done something that has improved the knowledge of humanity? And somebody has recognized me for that. Thank you very much. Nice to be recognized. But the purpose is not gaining the Nobel Prize. The purpose is, what contribution have I made to the sum total of knowledge? How has this knowledge benefited humanity? So it is not that object in itself that has any value in terms of our happiness. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't have the object. This is where the difficulty lies. People think of it as, oh, then you shouldn't have it. Not that you shouldn't have it. People make a lifetime. I mean, it's like so much time and effort is wasted trying to not have something. Okay, suppose you are a executive. You require a car to go to work. But now that drive is maybe 1 hour. So maybe it makes sense for you to have a driver take you there because you get that one additional hour to work. No, I shouldn't have a driver because I'm a simple person. That's all nonsensical talk. And some people make everything, they make it the focus of their life. Now it makes sustainable. We are also trying to build a sustainable university. Obviously, whatever we should do should not damage our environment. But the knowledge taught there is significant, not the sustainable. That is just something we also have to do. Which, by the way, I hope you know we are now planting 1,000 trees. And we hope that we can do it with Shramdan. You know Shramdan? Shramdan means people come and give. Shram means effort. So we'll all go one day to the plot. We've dug the pits and all. And the manure has been put in. And then the drip irrigation has been put in. And now we have to put the plants, which is the exciting part. So we can all go together and put it. So, but we can't make the whole focus of the university planting trees, right? It's just one of the things we do because it's saying thank you to the environment. Because you must remember, every road that we have gone on, every building that we have lived in, every flight that we have taken, trees have been cut in our names. And the very least we can do is a little bit to make up for this damage that we have created. But now we can't make that the center of everything. It is just something we are going to do. Because we owe it. It is our responsibility. I hope this is clear. I don't know if I'm just confusing it even more. Yes, Bharat.
So the reason we make it our center, is it because the end purpose is not clear to us?
Yes. We don't have a purpose. It's not that it's not clear. It's we don't have a purpose. Nobody has a purpose. Everybody's just like randomly picking on things and then getting very attached to it and becoming that centric. Some people become money centric. Some people become spouse centric. Some people become child centric. Some people become sustainability centric. It's like it's a free for all because there is no real purpose. It is just like I've fallen in love with some idea and now I'm going to do it. And some people who become car centric. Some people, like one man, he spends 3 hours a day cleaning his car. And car is in spotless condition, but everything else is only spotted. There's nothing else. Relationships don't work, children are a mess, finances have gone down the drain, but car is perfect. So you don't seem to understand what is the full purpose. Some people become yoga centric. Now everything yoga. Please, yoga is one thing you do to maintain your health, to maintain your body, to do it in a way which It's taking you in the journey. Now, yoga has become everything. So it's not that it's not clear, it's that there is no goal. Our goals are all like very things I've fallen in love with. They're not goals. Okay?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Janki, madam, just in the flow of thought, you mentioned BMW. Maybe some people will say your objective is to travel. Why only BMW? Any car will be okay. But some people will know the real reason, safety part. May not be BMW, any other thing. Maybe because of convenience or because of some features we go. But is it how the Vedanta says, your objective is just to transport, any car will be okay, or anything lavish we can take?
You can do whatever. It depends on the context always. Suppose you're managing director of your company and you go in a Maruti 800. The share price will fall. So you have to be context related. You cannot be out of context if you happen to be in a position that requires you to travel. I remember my husband, he's a very, very, what should I say, his demeanor is very, very quiet. So his office gave him a car and told him that you have to come to office in this car. He has his own car, small car of his own. So he will go, if it's his personal work, he will take the small car. If he's going on official work, he will take the big car. So people would tell him, Arey, you have the car, why don't you use that big car on the weekend? He says, that is for official work. So his office does not want a person of his designation to come in the small car. Give him a car, you please come in this one. So it's all context based. What is it needed for? How is this helping you achieve your goal? What have you thought about it? If you're a financier, for instance, okay, you definitely need a Merc or an BMW or something. Otherwise, people think that you can't do it. Or a builder, or people who are looking at your wealth to determine whether they have to invest with you, you'll have to have the most flashy things. So it's context based. Yes, Aditi?
Hariom Jankiji. An example that comes to my mind, Mr. Ratan Tata lived a very simple life, very humble home, and he also was one of the biggest, and according to his wealth, and he should have had a very magnanimous everything, all the things in the context that we are speaking now. So how did he get recognized even in spite of his simple living, and people didn't, the share prices didn't come down, and people just believed in his simple living?
Because people are looking at him. His life isn't by more chance simple. You know what is the cost of that place he lived in? He has a bungalow at Malabar Hill. That thing to own must be, I don't even know what that thing must be costing. The man was simple. And everybody can recognize that. But he had the planes, he had the cars, he had everything. What did he not have? That people understood that in spite of that, he's a simple man, because you can see it, right? He's got everything. I mean, he has got as much as any of the other billionaires have. He is not living anything less. Imagine bungalow at Malabar Hill. You are from Mumbai, you know what that means.
Okay, I was under the impression he didn't live in a bungalow for some reason. I thought he lived
a beautiful
in a
bungalow.
residential house.
Whatever. I mean, he can afford it. Warren Buffett also lives in the same. I heard some time ago he's living in the same 3-bedroom thing. It depends on context. It's just because you have money, you don't need to spend. Depends on context. What is the need? We are not in love with simplicity, and we are not in love with lavishness. We have to determine what is needed now and do that thing which is needed. That's where the difficulty lies, no? It's the difficulty of dharma. What is dharma? Somebody just falling in love with a simple life and sacrificing the goal in this, I am simple. Fallen in love with simple. Not in love with simple, you're not in love with lavish, you will do what is necessary. Nice Swamiji, for instance. He has the best cars. He has a BMW, he has the Merc, he has all that. But just remember this, he is driving from Mumbai to Academy twice, thrice a week. Okay? Why would he not have, and then he goes there and takes class. Why would he not travel comfortably so that he's available, his body is available for taking the class properly? There are times he just drives there and he goes straight to take the class. Obviously, he will travel comfortably. Because if he doesn't, the sufferer is not him. The sufferer is the people who are listening to the lecture. So not in love with any part of it. You will do what is appropriate, when it is appropriate, how it is appropriate.
I'm still not very convinced, Janki-ji, because if you said a person like Warren Buffett, he's living in a 3 BHK house, the rules pretty much would be like, okay, he's a very, for his status and everything, as we said. As you said, that the bigger the status, the more lavish a person has to be or should.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say bigger the
Okay,
status.
sorry.
No, please listen carefully. I said
Okay.
depends on context. Is it
So what-
required? And there's no way we can tell what is required in somebody else's
Yes.
life or not. It's required, it's required. Otherwise, you can question anything. Most of us feel whatever I do is right. If anybody does anything more, then they're being too lavish. If they're doing anything less, then they're being too miserly. Right?
So the context would also depend upon the individual himself or herself, right?
The whole context. I'm not making a case for everyone to become lavish. Next time, everybody will say, okay, you said in class I have to buy a BMW. I bought a BMW. Hello, Baba, I am not recommending any BMWs. They are not giving me any commission if people go around buying BMWs. Nobody's recommending it. We're just saying you have to do what needs to be done instead of being in love with something.
So
Janki,
basically-
may I say something on this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so when you reach a status of a Ratan Tata or Warren Buffett or whatever, you really don't need to do anything to show your status because everyone knows who you are. It's the lesser executives who need it because I remember in my company, at one point, there was a move to cut down on business flights, and everyone had to go executive class, economy class, sorry. And so when there was a group of directors who went to the vice chairman and said, this is not on. And the vice chairman said, but I travel economy class, which he does. But the point was, they said, you can afford to travel economy class. You're the vice chairman of the company. It doesn't matter what you do. But for the rest of us, we need that business travel. So the point you're making is absolutely right, that you do need it. But when you sort of cross that level and you become a celebrity, you don't need it.
Yes, but you don't need it. Yes, you're right. Sometimes it is very necessary in your line of work. Sometimes it's not necessary in your line of work, but maybe it's necessary because of your health. Or it's necessary for some other reason. But you have to figure it out, right? Again, Swamiji's example, he is going to take a flight, go from Mumbai, fly all the way to New York or California or anywhere where the lectures are. How can you not travel business? He has to go there and then perform, right? He's not going there on a holiday, then 3 days he relaxes and rests. He has to go comfortably. Because he reaches there and he has to start. It's not like, for the person who brings him there, the hotel bills are going up also. Everything counts, right? So you can't say, okay, I'll come by some economy where I'm very uncomfortable. Then I will deal with my jet lag and tiredness for 3-4 days. And you host me on this time. That also you can't say. So it depends on context, always context. Not being in love with any particular side. Doing what is necessary, when it's necessary, how it's necessary. Okay, so that's it. I don't know if you all know. Aditi is giving us a very nice performance on the 6th of April.